All right, thank you. Here, the program's still much here. Now, independent television, looking at Edo 2020 one more time. We just looked at the readiness of the electorate. And also, let's see the preparedness of the Nigerian Red Cross, because it's one agency that is going to be very busy on that day. And you know that when it comes to saving lives, giving first aid, Nigerian Red Cross is always there. Well, we've got the branch secretary, Edo branch secretary, Mr. Wisin Ekoemo. You're welcome to the program tomorrow on ITV.
Good morning, Mr.
No, all right. Now, Edo 2020, it's 72 hours around the corner. So what is the position of the Nigerian Red Cross so far?
Okay, first and foremost, let me use this opportunity to first appreciate the management, board and staff of Independent Television and Radio for giving us this opportunity, and to also seize this opportunity to also wish the founder and investor of Independent Television and Radio a happy birthday. Now, the Nigerian Red Cross Society is a humanitarian organization with the sole responsibility and the mandate to cater for, the needs of the most vulnerable people. And these vulnerable people are people that might have been affected by, by either man-made disaster or natural disasters. And they include the aged, the physically challenged, women and children. And they can be found in both urban and rural areas. Now, for the 2020 gubernatorial elections, the Edo State branch, as part of our preparedness plan, preparedness has to be pre-election. We have trained our volunteers both on first aid and the COVID-19. Therefore, we will be deploying 228 volunteers for that day. And these volunteers will be stationed some meters away from the polling units. And each of the LGA, we are going to have 2 first aid posts. This we are doing.
Each of the LGO?
LGA.
Okay,
LGA, we are going to have 2 first aid posts.
Okay.
It's a temporary first aid post. Maybe, we look for a comfortable place where we need to provide a canopy, we will do that. But we must also say that, all of this we are putting in place now was, we are locally sourced in the sense that there's really no funding anywhere. And what we are doing was through the donations from members within. We have also discovered that it seems, in my mind, there is donor fatigue, maybe as a result of the COVID-19. Therefore, we are not having enough funds. Usually, we deploy more members than this. However, as part of our preparedness plan, we are also going to deploy 3 ambulance vehicles. These 3 ambulance vehicles will be 1 in Edo South, 1 in Edo Central, and 1 again in Edo North. Okay. Should there be emergency, there will be Red Cross to respond to those emergencies.
Okay, now let's continue from where you said that in each LGA you're going to have 2 first aid posts. Now, one would think that if you have 2 first aid posts in somewhere like Oedo, which is a dense populated area, and of course you have 2 first aid posts in somewhere like Ovia Northeast. That's small relative to the amount of people you may have in these 2 places.
I intentionally made mention of how we were able to put this arrangement in place. This arrangement was put in place ordinarily if not for the cooperation of members. We didn't get support from anywhere. It was internal support. Therefore, like I said, Red Cross is donor dependent, and we can only do based on the type of support we get. And since this is what we have, and don't also forget that we have also made arrangement for ambulance to be on ground. This ambulance, whenever there are emergency, of course, the phone numbers have been released. Whenever there is an emergency anywhere, the ambulance vehicle will be readily available to pick, do the needful. Okay,
now this election is going to be so peculiar in the sense that we are going to be observing it, amid the COVID-19. Is the Nigerian Red Cross prepared in this direction too?
Of course, we are well prepared. In fact, the Red Cross have had several trainings as far as COVID-19 is concerned. And, even as we speak now, we have 25 volunteers on the, they are in, we have in Oredo, Southwest, and Eastern North. We are carrying out what we call house-to-house sensitization on COVID-19. So the Nigerian Red Cross is supporting both Edo State government and the Federal Ministry of Health with house-to-house sensitization under the risk communication pillar of the COVID-19 response team. So we are well prepared. Then for the guidelines that have been released by INEC, which is voting in safety, of course, we have also added our voice to what INEC have released. Already we know that during this voting, there's going to be two voting lines, as the case may be. One will be inside, then the other will be outside. It is the outside that will be feeding the inside one. However, INEC, based on the voting in safety guidelines, that they've said that everybody must be on face mask.
Okay.
And we also encourage those that have the the resources to have their hand sanitizer should have their hand sanitizer. And we must not forget, if you must cough, make sure you cough on a bent elbow. Or you have your tissue to cough on that there.
Okay. Now let's see your operation, the way you relate with other agencies, similar agencies that carry out almost the same function. Now I don't want to be specific, but there was a particular state that had an election, and of course the issue of giving first aid came up. There was an argument that broke up between Nigerian Red Cross and another similar agency, on who to attend to the patient first and who not to attend to the patient first. Now, what will you say is your level of preparedness in handling other agencies that may be on the ground in terms of providing the same function that you do during the election?
Okay, the Edo State branch of Nigerian Red Cross, we enjoy very good cordial relationship with most of our sister agencies in the state, and of course, with our partners even outside the state. For election purpose, the key actors include police, the civil defense, immigration, customs, and other security agencies. These are government agencies. Now, for the Red Cross, we are purely humanitarian organization, and we are not a government organization. We are not partisan. And let me also say this, that even the members that will be deployed, their deployment is based on proximity to their polling units. We are not saying our members should not vote. So they are only deployed based on the closeness of where they will vote before going back to the first aid post. And that's why we said their first aid post will be some meters away from where they will, with the polling unit. Now, for relationship with organization in Edo State, I do not think we have any problem with any agency. We have enjoyed cordial relationship with Ministry of Health, most of the hospitals, because in any case, should there be violence, where are we taking this first aid? Some may not end at the level of first aid, so you have to deploy this. You have to transfer to the hospital. So we also enjoy good relationship with most of the hospitals, and they are aware that we'll be out on that. The Ministry of Health, they are very much aware. And after this section, I will also be going to Ministry of Health to see how they can support our response. Okay,
now your members that you have deployed, to what extent are they going to be performing that day? Are they going to be giving, are they going to be on standby just to give first aid, or also to perform some other quasi responsibilities, maybe to be party agents or some form of party, or to be an ad hoc staff to INEC?
Like I said, the Red Cross is an international humanitarian organization. Our neutrality can never be compromised.
Okay.
We are very, very neutral when it comes to this election.
Okay.
However, we do not want to deny our members the right to exercise their franchise. Therefore, that's why their deployment is based on proximity to their place of vote. But if they must vote, this will not be with them.
Okay.
When missing up with the voters, they must not be on the Red Cross apron, so that we will not be mistaken for any of the parties involved in the election. So, of course, you know, they will vote and they will vote peacefully. Now, let me also speak about, you know, we envisage that, you know, it is only good for us to prepare should there be violence. But however, you know, we all need peace. We all need peace in our society. Yes, we know election goes with a lot of emotions, and it's that emotions that brings up violence in where elections have resulted to violence. But again, we are brothers and sisters in this state, and we can only advise the major players and stakeholders in this election to you know, take it peacefully. Then for the voters, or for those who will be voting for perpetrating violence, look back at your family, look at your lovely family. Does it an election worth dying for? Of course no. And let me see this opportunity to come here for you initiating a peace move, and that of what happened yesterday, the National Peace Commission committee by they don't well. Let's every other person hit this move that have been the National Peace Committee. Okay, as preparations round up the discussion now, let's look at we have 1 to 4 across the states, and that's quite extensive. That's a number of people you have deployed to the front line election and all that. Now, I don't have any preparation on the ground. Maybe sort of give some form of questioning to advocates that want to give a state. Maybe, for example, Evans local game particular units, and as then does come respond. Don't you think I need to be trained too by the Red Cross? Yeah, you know, first aid is not limited to Red Cross members alone. Not only. And part of what we do is we carry out community first aid. And most of the communities along the highway, because particularly those that are prone to, you know, accident, those are hotspots for accident. We visited most of the communities, and we've trained their community members. They are also willing. They can manage, because most time, of course, we are in, the office is in GRA, and maybe some of our volunteers may be in Olukuye, an accident happened close to Ohosu. You need people to respond. If you don't train community people, even if we leave GRA, before we get there, the person may be in UBTH. Therefore, you need to train the community people. So most of the community members, they will also be trained, and for those that have not been trained, it is only good when emergency break out. Look for, you know, somebody that has been trained to render such service. What about the riverine terrains? The riverine terrains, of course, Red Cross is not it's not just in Benin. Red Cross, we have 18 LGA. Yeah. Me, I'm the branch secretary of the state. Then for the LGA, they are the closest to their community because it's a community-based organization. There's no local government you go as we speak now where you don't have Red Cross members. So even in the riverine communities, you have Red Cross members. So those Red Cross members, they have trained their community people because we have branch, division, detachment, and units. So it's like that. So that's why we say Red Cross is next to one of the product because it's highly community-based organization. And they are fully deployed for this election? No, for deployment, because for deployments, and you know, I made mention of being Red Cross being donor dependent. We work based on the support we get. Let me also use that would be somehow limited, don't you think so? I agree with you. I agree with you. But again, it's the number of supports we get, the amount of support we receive. Like I said, this support was internal. It was not gotten from outside. So it's like taxing your members. And we just did a fundraising amongst ourselves. And it is the little support we could raise among ourselves that we are using. But let me also say this. Some of the vehicles will be using as ambulance. Some of the vehicles will be using as ambulance. Please and please, they are personal vehicle. Should there be violence, these ambulance vehicles should be spared. These vehicles should be spared? Yeah, the vehicles should be spared. We are not a party to any of the political party, and whenever there is violence, we are not a party to hostility. Red Cross is always a neutral organization, and we stand by our 7 fundamental principles, and which the key one is neutrality. In election matters, we emphasize the need for neutrality, and that's why our members that will be deployed on that day, they are highly mature, trained, and disciplined. We do not think they will do the contrary. They understand the discipline in the organization, and that's why we have deployed them. Okay, now finally, what will you say is the major problem that the Red Cross has as it relates to elections in Nigeria? For election, the problem is everywhere. One is the issue of propaganda. You put on your phone you just open your phone and the next information you begin, you see it's false information popping up. And if you are not careful, you know, tempers begin to...
Now, I'm talking about the Nigerian Red Cross now. What would you say is the major problem that it has as it relates to elections in the country? The major?
Yes, the problem we have as regarding the election is that, you know, the information coming in from the people is what is raising tempers, particularly that of the major players. Ordinarily, you know, I can say that, you know, for a very long time, the amount of misinformation of the public as far as this election is concerned is huge, and that's what is raising tempers.
Okay.
If you know, this what we now call fake news, if they are reduced, I do not think you know, tempers will begin to rise. But however, even the remarks from our political the key actors is also a major contributor to, you know.
Are you saying tempers against the Red Cross? I'm specific about the Red Cross, the major problem that it has.
Okay, for Red Cross, what we have, the challenges we have, they are enormous. They are enormous.
Now, what is the major one?
The major one is that we don't have ambulance.
Okay, that's mobility.
Yes, we don't have ambulance. When we have ambulance, we shouldn't be talking about you know, using calling on people to bring out their vehicles. We do not have ambulance, and these vehicles that are going to be used as ambulance, they are not ambulance. Ambulance is ambulance, and when you improvise, it cannot be called an ambulance. Okay. So it's a major challenge. And let me also say this: we need support. We need support from all stakeholders, individuals, corporate organizations. Let them support the Red Cross, because the Red Cross cannot do it all. All
right, thank you so much. Just as Wisin, the branch secretary of the Benin Red Cross has said that the major problem that it has is the problem of mobility, that most times they rely on you know, personal donor, individual donor, using people's private cars as ambulances during election. So we're using this as a clarion call to, well, you know, meaningful Nigerians out there. This election, you can make your contributions to the Red Cross, and so that they can serve humanity. Wisin, thank you so much for finding time to come on the program today. Well, that's how we conclude the program today, this morning on ITV. Don't forget that by tomorrow, by the special grace of God, Uyi Akbonfugwe is going to be here. And don't also forget today that by 4 o'clock, we're going to be having the candidates of the governorship candidates of the All Progressives Congress, and it's going to be anchored by Mr. Sonny Diokokozu, so that we keep you there, so that you can also be part of that this evening, 4 p.m. this evening. And I bet you it's going to be on our television and also on our radio. My name is Evan Sunakuge. Goodbye and God bless you.